Hello everybody, it's me, your boy Manny, and in this video I'm gonna be covering 5 free-to-play games on Steam, which of course means that you can try them out by yourself and not have to pay a single penny. This is what I'm turning the 5 indie demos review segment into, because of two things. First, I originally wanted to turn the 5 indie demo segment into a 10 indie demo segment, which is the upgrade I was talking about in another video. But as I was playing and trying to gather my thoughts on stuff, I came to the realization that it would be impossible to do a 10 indie demos video on a regular basis. And second, my new plan is to try to do this weekly, and release them either on Sunday or Monday. And the reason why I'm doing 5 instead of 10, it's because I want to work on this while at the same time keep working on my first impressions videos, which I guess it's fair to say that they're pretty much the main series of the channel now. Seriously, I've been having a lot of fun making these videos, and telling you some brief thoughts about them, which is why I want to also keep this segment alive, while at the same time not making it one that could get too difficult to make. Either way, in this segment I'm gonna be talking about 5 free-to-play games, giving you a brief review and thoughts on them, and I'm gonna do my best to do this segment weekly. And if I can't do it weekly, I'll do it every 2 weeks, but you'll get it anyway. And since Steam is a platform that gets new free games pretty much all the time, it won't be hard to cover at least 5 of them on a weekly basis. Oh, and one last thing, I'll be alternating between full games and demos in this video, because just in case the full games I play aren't worth talking about, I'll put some demos in here that I find interesting. And overall, it's not like I'll record a full game anyway. So with that said, let's get into it. First off, we have Gone Devil, a side-scroller with shooting elements. In this game, we have to basically rescue our wife from Satan's son, who gets kidnapped by him after falling in love with her when she becomes his teacher, which is totally not cliché at all. But this game has some particular aspects to it that I like to point out, such as the dialogue, which is quirky, I guess? They call Satan's son the caramelized Donbass, or just the Donbass. They also call his army the Pimp Legion, which... why? I mean, I do understand games that have humor in their dialogue in order for them to not be taken seriously, but here it just feels kinda forced. It's still amusing though, don't get me wrong. Anyway, the gameplay of this is actually pretty solid and fun. We go around doing platforming, shooting enemies, and trying to collect 3 special coins, with only one of these being available in the level itself, and the other 2 being available if you reach the end with 3 hearts and if you manage to beat all the enemies in the level. These levels are short but can also be pretty challenging, with you having to dodge roll some obstacles and mutter a high jump later in the game, which will be very crucial if you wanna complete it. As for the enemies, these can come in many forms. You have ground enemies, flying enemies, cows that don't actually attack you but that you will hurt on contact, and even spear dudes who will hurt you from below the ground. And let me tell you, causing chaos and chain damage in this game does feel satisfying. There's a couple moments in the game where you need to time your jumping and shooting right though, because otherwise you can get caught by some enemies that will throw projectiles at you, as well as platforming getting harder as you progress. So after a couple levels we get to a boss fight, in this case, a dog's bot. Yep, not even kidding, we literally fight a bot as our first boss fight, and it's actually kinda challenging, with me struggling the first couple attempts to get it right and then managing to beat him. Either way, for me this game ended up being pretty cool and fun. The quirky dialogue can of course be better and funnier, but I can also understand that being fun in a game that doesn't want to take itself seriously can be hard. Overall though, pretty good game. Next up we have a game that is not really new, it came out in November 2018, but it's actually free right now until August 11, so if you're watching this after that date then I'm sorry. This is Depsotism 3K, a game that I'd like to call a management game. In this game, we are an alien entity who takes control of humans and forces them to generate energy. We have, of course, humans who can select for them to run like hamsters in a wheel to generate energy, generate food for them to eat, and as a final kind of option, kill them to process their meat and convert that into both food and energy. You can also generate more humans by putting two humans in a container and let them... well, I guess there's no need for me to tell you how they create more humans. There's also the option to upgrade each of the facilities your humans are placed in, and to do so you'll have to spend energy, which is the core element of the game. If you run out of it by the time this counter gets to 0, then it's game over. But anyway, upgrading the facilities lets you have more humans to stuff in them, and their stamina is also upgraded. You can also upgrade the number of robotic arms you can have in order to move humans to their respective facilities. Believe me, you'll need this sooner than you think. And you can also be faced by different kinds of obstacles in the form of a problem that you need to select an option for, kinda like how Sword Court works. For example, you can be faced with the appearance of a giant mutant baby that will generate extra energy for you, but will also kill and eat humans on a regular basis. Or you could also find something weird in a box, which turns out to be a ghoul, which then turns into a nasty toothy old man, which then infects the normal food and you'll need to feed humans by a reactor processed food from then on. Each situation you get has a different outcome for the rest of your campaign, so you gotta be careful with your options. I sadly could not finish a single campaign, and honestly, I don't think I would be bothered enough to do it. But this game was still a fun little concept, and the more you play, the more difficulties you unlock. Even myself, not winning any campaign, made me win a couple new modes. In fact, to get the easy mode, you need to lose 3 times with the classic mode, which is the only mode available at the moment you start playing, by the way. So yeah, good game, free until August 11, get it while you can. Next up, I wanna talk about a demo of a pretty cool game called TinyKin, which is an open world 3D platformer that, from my point of view, draws inspiration from games such as Spyro, Banjo-Kazooie, and probably the most obvious of all, Pikmin. In this game, we control a kid named Milodane, who wants to travel to a brand new planet but instead finds himself being small on Earth. And with the help of Rhythmy and some small creatures called the TinyKin, he will build a machine which was drawn into a blueprint by a being called Arduin, which could apparently go beyond the house, whatever that's supposed to mean. And for this, we must assemble various components that are scattered around the house, with this being just various home objects. But the means to get them are actually what makes this game unique. You see, every room here is a big level, with a bunch of collectibles and side missions, just like classic open world collectathon games. But there's always a main thing we need to do in each level, and that is get one of the components for Arduin's machine. In the first level named Sanctar, which is totally not just some random human room, we need to bring back a relic into a cryptic machine for it to make the citizens of this place able to listen to the voice of the gods again. Or, in a more human way, put a CD into a stereo player. And for this, we'll need to collect some TinyKins that will help us grab stuff, which are the purple ones, but there's also red TinyKins. These ones help us blowing up stuff so we can move through the level, or collect small popcorn, or whatever that is, although it does look like popcorn to me. And by the way, there are 740 of them, so there was no way I could have collected them in a single sitting. But yeah, you go around, collect stuff, do side missions like taking the picture of a menacing monster which ends up just being a bear plushie, rescue a kid who got stuck inside a piano, and many other things that I probably didn't get around to. Although the main thing we have to do, once again, is getting the component which we'll get after putting the disc into the stereo. But if you think this will be an easy task, you're far from right. We first need to clear up the way for the TinyKin to get there, which will require us to go around the whole damn place and blowing up stuff and such. But not only that, we'll also need to bring back a missing play button and an electricity conductor to where the stereo is. So it's many things we need to do, not only bring the CD back into the stereo, but also play it once it's there. But anyway, after we do all of this, we get the component from King Solaria, and we can bring it back to the hub world. And after this, the demo ends. I gotta say, I really enjoy this. The way this perfectly captures the open world collectathon genre is something that put a smile on my face most of the time while playing this. If I had to point out a couple issues I have with this though, I'd say the levels themselves can be easy to get lost in. Not as much as in a game like Banjo-Tooie, but still big enough. The good thing is that with the soap mechanic, it's easier to get around the level though. And the other issue, and it seems like this is just a demo thing, is that I couldn't change the video settings, which is why you've seen this kinda crusty, but hey, it's better than nothing at all, right? But yeah, TinyKin, no release date yet, good demo, it will just take you an hour or maybe less if you are that good, play it, you'll enjoy it, thank you. Okay, next up we have a game that I played less than 20 minutes, because it was just hard to beat after a while, but I still feel like I've got something to say about it. Blast of Far Away is a shooting game which is kinda similar to Vampire Survivors, but not too similar to the point that it's just a ripoff. And believe me, there's a lot of them. I might make a video about them soon. But in this game, you fight off waves of aliens, and you gotta keep your oxygen intact in order to fight them, because once the oxygen runs out, it means game over. And the way to keep your oxygen intact is by traveling from planet to planet. Each planet has a countdown, and whenever it gets to 0, it means that the planet has run out of oxygen, and so it will slowly decrease on you. You'll need then to use your grappling hook to travel to another planet, which is of course the most well-known way for anyone to travel from one planet to another. And also, if your oxygen is running low, by standing on a planet that still has some oxygen in it, it will get replenished. Of course, you will lose oxygen after the countdown reaches to 0 though, so you gotta be mindful of that. This is a very fast-paced arcade shooter with a fun idea behind it, but it of course has some flaws to it, such as the fact that after you beat a wave of aliens, you have a small cooldown, which sure wouldn't be a big issue if it wasn't for the fact that you can easily run out of oxygen with no way to go to another planet during said cooldown because, well, you can't. Again, I didn't play too much of this, just a whopping 17 minutes, but I still found this game to be a very cool space-themed shooting game. I will recommend playing this with keyboard since I found it more easy than using controls for once. So yeah, it's free, check it out, hopefully you will find yourself playing it longer than I did. And last but not least, I wanna talk about a demo of a game called Flesh, a game made by Polapi Swan? Something like that, which is due to be released at the end of October. So this game is a 2D horizontal fast-paced bullet hell shooter, and what really stood out to me when I played this demo was the art style. It may seem kinda gross for some people since, you know, it's all flesh, but I found it to be really interesting and cool. We control whoever the fuck this is, a spaceship or whatever, and we're inside someone's mouth, judging by all those teeth. And we are just fighting a bunch of germs, shooting and using a whip attack that can also get rid of the bullets, until we get to the boss, which actually took me a while for me to beat. And after you beat it, the demo is done. So it is a pretty short demo, but it's also a really exciting game. Now, the only thing is, I have no idea how many lives this guy has, because I ended up dying a lot in the boss, but there wasn't any indication of how much I had until I game over. I mean, you do have a health counter on the top left corner, but you don't actually have a way to know how many tries you have left, so that's just a note to the developers. Other than that though, I enjoyed the game. I was a bit confused by how the bullet hell worked here, since some bullets hurt you, some don't, and such. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I hope the full game is worth the wait. But yeah, that's 5 indie free things, your, hopefully, weekly segment. I hope you enjoyed the video. I guess it's fair to say that this will be by far the segment I'll put the most effort into. Not just because of playing a bunch of stuff, but also selecting the games that are actually worth talking about. So I hope you like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It really does help me, and again, if I can't do this weekly, I'll do it every 2 weeks, just so I can put time into other stuff. So yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hey, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. This motivates me to continue doing this type of content. Believe me, it does take effort, so support is greatly appreciated. I also stream on my Twitch channel, usually on the weekends. But I will tend to stream after a new video is up as well. So chances are I might be live there right now. So feel free to go and say hi. And finally, don't forget to join my Discord server. We have a small but cool community, and it's also a good place to hang out. So come join us. With that said, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.